Alright, once again, Shalom Israel. I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the hopeful elect, men, women, and children, in the sincere spirit. Alright, that are going to be woken up and receive salvation in these last days. I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue my version. I'm going to continue on the Proverbs 31, but without the brother Tizayawan. Lord willing, the brother Tizayawan, the elder of the DTA, Death to America camp in New Jersey, Lord willing, he does a continuation of the first part of the Proverbs 31 that's on my channel, The Virtuous Woman, entitled The Virtuous Woman, and get into some heavy spiritual aspects of this Proverbs 30 and 31, chapter 31. All right. Me myself, I'm just gonna touch more on the carnal side. All right. And just let the spirit lead. Okay. So I'm gonna start at Proverbs chapter 31, verse 8. Now, mind you, just a recap. This is wisdom. This is overall wisdom to kings, all right, to kings, all right, and us hopeful elect in His truth, all right. We are kings. We need to remember that, but it's a difference. It's a difference between being a man and being a king. A king is a man with power and authority, with a heavy responsibility. All right. So like I said, this is wisdom, overall wisdom to all kings. So in verse 3, Proverbs 31 and 3, it says, "Give not thy strength unto women." All right, so that verse gets into how it's wisdom not to give the wrong things from your spirit unto a woman. All right, which is twofold, because women can represent these different philosophies and off doctrines that's being rotated in the world, all right, in this world that we live in, okay, right now, which is contrary and goes against the sound doctrine of the truth, of the spirit, of the Holy Spirit of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Okay, so on one hand, you don't want to allow your spirit to give into any spirit that's not right, any spirit that isn't aligned with the spirit, the Holy Spirit of Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shah. Okay, you don't want to give into the Islam spirit. You don't want to give into the spirit of celebrating these holidays, these pagan holidays. You don't want to give into the spirit of believing the flat earth doctrine. All right, any Haile Selassie Rastafarian doctrine. Okay, anything that is not 100% aligned with the Holy Spirit, of the Most High, okay? And on the other hand, you don't want to, and it's crazy because women being the top, carnal women being the top care, being potentially being the top care for a man in the world, all right, is a strong vessel, is one of the main vessels for a man to fall into these different philosophies and different off doctrines. Okay? So you don't want to put your spirit. You want to have a king has to always maintain a ruling class mentality. That's wisdom. And having a ruling class mentality, you're not going to be willing to ignorantly allow your spirit to give into the spirit of women. Because what? A king has multiple women. All right? A king is going to have multiple women, so he's going to try to evenly distribute his love and his spirit into all his women. So he can't it's not wisdom to find himself allowing any of his women to persuade him to take over his spirit, to rule over his spirit, to find himself doing things to please his women more than the Most High, more than him maintaining a spirit of discipline, a spirit of righteous judgment. Because women could come in between. If you a king and you ruling a large piece of land, if you allow it, any one of your wives, any woman around you will be able to penetrate your spirit and cloud your judgment and cause you to make judgments based upon her will. And you would do it, and you won't even notice that you're doing it. Okay, so that's wisdom. Give not thy strength unto women. You have to be on point, man. You have to be on point. Women, carnal women, and spiritual women, which represents these different doctrines and philosophies of the world, will cause you to go astray from the sound doctrine of the truth. So that's this just a recap, but this is a heavy chapter. So I'm just trying to make sure I'm following the spirit properly and not looking over any points. So because it all ties in together. So that's one of the points of the recap. Right, that's the main point of the recap. It talks about verse 4. It is not for kings to drink wine, or for princes strong drink. Now that's talking about spiritual wine and spiritual strong drink, which also represents these different philosophies and off doctrines in the world. Okay, because it's permissible, if I'm sounding that right, for us to drink, okay, wine and strong drink. Of course, you don't overdo it and you don't abuse it and become a wine bibbler or become a drunkard. Because what the scripture say, roughly paraphrasing, woe unto them that wake up early and drink strong drink or wine or something like that. So you don't wanna, even though it's permissible to drink, you can't, it is unlawful to abuse the ability of drinking. And you know it's the truth, because in verse 6, well, verse 5, it says, lest they drink and forget the law, right? Lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted, right? That's exactly what I just said. A woman, these all philosophies and doctrines can penetrate your spirit and cause you to make wrong choices, wrong judgments, cause you to bug out and start believing things that is not within side of the box or within side of the circle of the Holy Spirit of the Most High. Verse 6, give strong drink unto them that is ready to perish, and wine unto those that be of heavy hearts. So this is carnal. This is carnal drinks, because living in this society, living in this hellhole. Yahweh Shah drunk, man. He drunk so much that those that didn't know any better, they looked at him and called him a wine bibbler. All right, because he was stressed out, man. He was ready to perish. He was one of those. He was one of those that had a heavy heart. He had a very heavy heart, representing your mom, because he knew his lot. He knew what he had to do. He knew eventually he was going to have to be crucified and sacrificed for the sins of our whole nation. He was poor. Okay, he had this heavy responsibility. So Yahweh Shah drunk. All right. Drinking helps. Drinking does help, man, and it's not for everybody. They say to each his own. All right. If it don't apply, let it fly. You should be able to examine yourself enough to know whether drinking is good for you or not, and how much drinking is good for you. Now you should know your limit, know your moderation. Continuing on, 7, let him drink and forget his poverty. See, it helps you to, with that Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, we're the ones that's in poverty. All right, we're the ones that's in poverty, and compared to other nations that may be in poverty, also, we're in a deeper poverty, because we're in a spiritual poverty. All right, we are spiritually malnourished, if that's a word. We lack the proper spiritual nutrients, which is our power. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. We're living under the curses. So because if we weren't spiritually in poverty, we would be able to overcome being in physical poverty. All right, we would have been able to overcome our conditions in which that we're living in now, due to the curses and hardcore slavery. All right, Salakia. So, and remember his misery no more. That's what drinking helps for. Okay, so verse 8. This is where I wanted to start. All right, but I wound up doing